You eat clean all day. You make good choices, and then 8:30 p.m. or so hits, and the snacks, the sweets, and the drinks come out. If this sounds like you, look, you're not alone. It's one of the most common challenges that I hear from my clients, and light side of the topic, it's one of the most fixable ones too. And when you do fix it, the difference in how you look, how you feel, and how you show up can be massive. In today's episode, I'm going to break down why this happens and how to stop sabotaging yourself after the sun goes down. I'm going to cover the blood sugar dip, the emotional triggers, and the tactical things that you can do to change your evenings and hit your goals faster. All right, we are diving into the topic that so many of people that I talk to, so many of my clients, so many prospective clients, so many of just like my friends in general, we talk about, and it's eating well all day long and then blowing it at night. Because how often is it that at the end of the day, we're tired, we're stressed, maybe we feel like we've been all day, and all we want is something easy. We want something mindless. We want something comforting. We're bored. And for a lot of us, this is the only time to ourselves all day long. We've got our head down and work all day long, or maybe we've been driving the kids to and from things all day long, and we always are attending to their needs and their wants. And maybe this is the only time that you have to yourself all day long, or maybe it's the only time that you have with your significant other all day long because you're stuck doing so many of other things. And this is a time that's coveted. That, like I said, you want to relax, you want to be comforted, you want to de-stress, all the things. And this can oftentimes lead to eating sheerly out of boredom, to eating out of a stress relief, to eating for comfort, and all of those particular things. And those are all kind of good things that I just mentioned, to be comforted, for stress relief, to not be bored, all that kind of stuff. However, it ends up negatively impacting our health and fitness goals so much more so than we might even realize. A lot of us are probably realizing it, but it's just those mindless calories at night and the mindless foods that we're eating at night or drinks that we're having at night that are really sabotaging. And so today we're going to dive into two different parts. We're going to dive into why it happens, and then specific tactical things that I've used, that my clients have used, that have worked well in order to prevent this bad habit from sabotaging their results and the way they look and the way they feel. But before I even talk about the reasons why this happens, I would really encourage you, if you're interested in sustainable fat loss and muscle building, then you need to download our free PDF called the 5 Steps to Sustainable Fat Loss. This is completely free. This is so valuable in just this free document where you're going to learn nutritional things, you're going to learn things about exercise, you're going to learn things about sleep that are going to be really valuable to your to learning about your metabolism and understanding it, so you can feel confident and competent in order to achieve your fat loss goals. So you can go to nickcarrier.com/5 steps to fat loss to download this completely for free. We'll have a link down below as well in the description and the show notes, but nickcarrier.com/5 steps to fat loss to download that free PDF. But for now, let's go ahead and dive into the 4 reasons why this happens, of eating perfectly all day, or at least really well all day, and then blowing at night. The first thing is people are under eating during the day. I see so many people accidentally or unconsciously, or just because they're so busy, skipping breakfast and or skipping lunch. And it's no wonder that you're so hungry at night, because you've underfed yourself all day long. And so your body is wanting you to make up for the calories that it lacked earlier on in the day. And so your body wants to get the number of calories that is needed for it to run properly. And so if you're under eating during the day, and therefore you haven't consumed enough calories, your body is going to signal to you in one way, shape, or form, in one way or another, to eat more at night. And so if you are actually experiencing hunger at night, like it's actually hunger rather than boredom or any other kind of emotional trigger, if you will, then you're probably under eating during the day. You're specifically probably under eating on protein and fiber. And then the last thing I'll say about this part is your blood sugar is going to dip when you don't eat enough. And it's also going to dip when you have too many processed carbs. So it's kind of both of those things, right? Like your blood sugar is going to fall too low if you haven't eaten food. Your blood sugar is also going to crash if you have too many refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, and a blood sugar dip is going to lead to a craving at night. So if you're craving at night, if you're hungry at night, it could be because you're under eating during the day. So that's the first reason why that could be happen. The second reason is simply because you could have a depletion of willpower. I mean, think about the decisions that you're always making on a day-to-day basis, whether it's at work, in your personal life, with your kids, what to do in your workout. Like, there are so many decisions that you're probably having to do and sort out on a day-to-day basis. And decision fatigue is a real thing. The more decisions that you make as you go throughout your day, you're going to experience mental fatigue because of all the decisions. And the last thing that you want to do is make a healthy decision at the end of your day. So the depletion of willpower because of decision fatigue oftentimes can lead us to overeating on specific foods that we might wind down with at night, if you will. So that's the second reason why it might happen, the depletion of willpower. The third, and to me potentially the most common, is emotional triggers. Emotional triggers being something like boredom, loneliness, stress, resentment, just being tired. That's not necessarily an emotion per se, but that's still a trigger, if you will. A trigger is anything that is some sort of signal to you that you need to do something. That's all a trigger is. A trigger is some sort of signal to you that you need to do something. Boredom, loneliness, stress, tired, that's some sort of signal, that's some sort of emotion that's saying like, hey, something's not right now. You need to do something to fix this. And oftentimes the thing that we do to fix it is we eat or we drink. And that leads us to eating or drinking more calories than we should, more calories than is needed, or unhealthy things that are not serving our health and fitness goals. And so here's one of the most powerful things about this one. Super hard to implement. I don't know if I should say super hard, but hard to implement, is if you can identify the trigger, then you can replace food as the response with something more helpful. We'll dive into this more specifically in the next section, but know that emotional triggers are a large reason why you can eat perfectly all day and then blow it at night. And then lastly, the fourth reason why this happens is a reward mindset. I think so many of us, we work hard during the day, and at night we think, man, that was a good day. I need to reward myself. I deserve this. And then we eat whatever it is, or we drink whatever it is. And look, there's some times where rewarding yourself is an appropriate thing, but if we're rewarding ourselves with something that is detrimental to our goals, then is that really even a reward? Because it might only be a reward in the instant gratification kind of sense, but it's not going to be a reward in the future version of yourself kind of sense. So the reward mindset oftentimes creeps in, and it's really actually just instant gratification, but you're masking that as a reward type mindset. So the four reasons why you might be blowing it at night as far as a eating standpoint and drinking standpoint is because you're under eating during the day, you have a depletion of willpower, emotional triggers are popping up, and you have a reward mindset. And it's so powerful to understand that all of these things are somewhat under your control. And that's where we're going to go into the section 2 here as to what you can do differently in order to make sure that those reasons don't get the best of you. So I'm going to go through 6 different things to take notes on and identify, okay, which of these 6, or maybe there's one, maybe there's multiple of these 6 things that I can do if I'm struggling at night by overeating and eating sweets or snacking or shoving down pretzels and chips and drinking too much and that sort of thing. So what can we do differently? 6 things. Number 1, prioritize protein in every single meal and fuel with fiber in every single meal. Also, just generally speaking, like, don't skip meals. If skipping breakfast and fasting is currently working for you and you're not overeating at night and you feel good and you look the way you want to look, I'm not going to stop you. I don't have anything wrong with fasting. But if you're listening to this episode because you do overeat or overdrink at night and you do feel like it's because you're actually hungry, well, hey, it might be because you're skipping meals. And so if you actually eat at breakfast, lunch, and dinner a well-rounded meal during each of those that has protein and has fiber, you're going to be less hungry at night. You're going to be more full. You're going to be more satiated. So that's the first thing. Prioritize protein in every single meal and fuel with fiber every single meal. Before I go into number 2, a lot of these are directly correlated to one of the reasons why overeating at night is happening. And that's obviously specifically from the standpoint of, are you hungry and undereating during the day? The second thing you can do differently is be more intentional with creating a wind down routine. A wind down routine that is beneficial for you and your goals. If you fill in a routine that is actually sets you up for success the next day, allows you to wind down and lower your stress levels, then the reason of high stress is not going to creep in and lead to the bad habits of overeating or over drinking, if you will. And so some things that you can do in your wind down routine might be reading, might be stretching, might be going on a walk, could be laying out your clothes for tomorrow, it could be packing your clothes for the next day. Create some sort of intentional wind down routine that I would say mainly helps you to calm down from the day, lower your stress from the day, and that sort of thing. So number 2 is create a wind down routine. Number 3, this is just a good habit for all of us to be doing, regardless of whether or not we're struggling of eating at night or drinking at night, is putting our technology away. Don't look at your phone or your computer or your emails, or minimize your intake of your phone, computer, or emails. Computer's easier to put away. Emails is somewhat easy to put away, but if you have it on your phone, it's easy to pull that up. And scrolling through social media is so easy. So I would encourage you to have as minimal technology intake, as minimal stimulants to your brain as possible, because of course it's going to be better for your sleep, but it's going to be better for your connection with yourself during your wind down routine, your social connection with your significant other if you're winding down with them. It's going to be better for your mental clarity. And then think about this point, which is going to lead me into number 4, is it's going to lead you to less emotional triggers. If you're looking at something on social media and you're comparing yourself to how great somebody else did that day, or how successful somebody else is, or how great somebody else looks, that can lead to an emotional trigger for you to snack on something, eat something, or drink something that doesn't serve your health and fitness goals. So that brings me to the 4th thing you can do, is identify the emotional triggers that are leading to the blowing it at night. Whether it's you're snacking, you're eating sweets, if you're drinking, again, ask yourself, okay, am I doing this simply because I'm bored? Okay, if it's simply because I'm bored, well, I can do something else to occupy my time, to occupy my focus than to eat. What could that be that's more useful to me? Okay, what if I'm doing these things because I'm stressed? Okay, if I'm identifying I'm eating because I'm stressed, well, I'm probably going to get stressed at different times. I'm not going to completely eliminate that. Maybe I can with a lower it with a good wind down routine, but I'm going to continue to have stress at the end of some of my days. Can my response be something different than eating that serves me? Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe it's going on a walk. Maybe it's listening to music. I don't know. Maybe it's dancing. Like, figure out something that is a more useful response to the best version of yourself to stress rather than eating. Okay, what if you're just tired? If you're just tired, go to bed. If you're just tired, figure out something else to do rather than eat or drink. What if you're angry? Okay, what can be something better that you respond to anger with rather than eating? Maybe, again, it's going on a walk, it's blowing off some steam, it's listening to a podcast, it's reading, it's stretching. I don't know. Figure out something better to input that. Maybe you're lonely. There's something else that you can do. My point is a large percentage of the time, if we're blowing it at night by eating things that don't serve our health and fitness goals, and same thing with drinking things, is it's one of these emotional triggers rather than the fact that we're just simply hungry. And if it's one of these emotional triggers, we can identify it and we can think about a more useful thing that will help still eradicate that trigger other than eating. That brings me to number 5. Replace, not remove. So this is the 5th thing that you can do differently so that you can stop blowing it at night with eating and drinking away your health and fitness goals. So if, let's say, I am bored or I am stressed and I'm eating something, maybe you can not eat something and you can do something differently. Or maybe you can just eat something differently. Maybe instead of grabbing that bag of pretzels or that bag of chips and knocking down 800 calories, or maybe instead of reaching for that alcoholic beverage and having 1, 2, 3, 4, racking up 400 to 600 calories and then feeling like crap the next day, maybe you can actually eat something healthy. Maybe you can swap chips for a healthier kind of popcorn. Maybe you can swap candy or chocolate for a piece of fruit. Every single night, basically, Kenny and I have the exact same, what we call our dessert. And that's an apple and one of Kennedy's cottage cheese cookies. And these cottage cheese cookies are, you're probably listening to this, you're probably like, that sounds gross. I promise you, They're really good. I actually like cottage cheese. Kennedy does not like cottage cheese, but she loves these cookies. These cookies are simply, I think this is all she puts in it: cottage cheese, almond butter, and dark chocolate. She literally puts cottage cheese, almond butter in a blender, blends it up, adds some dark chocolate, forms it into little cookie shapes. Like she melts dark chocolate, drizzles it over, it melts it into cookie shapes, puts it in the freezer, and boom. We literally have an apple and one of those every single night. And so when we're winding down, I don't know exactly why we eat, whether it's comfort, really not usually hunger. Every once in a while after dinner, it's like maybe I'm a little bit still hungry. But generally, I would say it's just kind of more routine than anything else. That's probably with a lot of you guys as well. If one of the reasons why you're eating something at night is simply because you're used to always eating something at night, that doesn't mean you have to necessarily stop that, but make it a healthy choice, like something like I mentioned. If you're drinking, maybe you swap wine or beer for a sparkling water or a mocktail. There are ways to not remove eating or drinking altogether, but replacing it with something that serves your health and fitness goals to a higher degree. Before I get into number 6, and one of the most practical ones that I use with a lot of my 10-week transformation clients, I again want to invite you to sign up and receive and download the free PDF of the 5 steps to sustainable fat loss. You can go to nickcarrier.com/5 steps to fat loss to download that for free today. This is such a valuable document, such a valuable free document where it's like, okay, I need to know habits in order to get me to my goals. I want somebody to tell me what to do in order to get to my fat loss goals. Here you go. 5 steps. These 5 steps are not easy to implement, but they're easy to understand, and then you can strategize to implement them consistently, and I guarantee you results if you do them consistently. So you can click the link below in the description in the show notes. The 5 steps to sustainable fat loss. You can go to nickcarrier.com/5 steps of fat loss to sign up for that for free. nickcarrier.com/5 steps of fat loss to download that for free. Okay, the 6th and final thing to do things differently in order to stop just eating great all day and then blowing it at night is set evening guardrails. So that can be a few different types of things. So you can set specific rules or guardrails for yourself. One example is I'm going to give myself one snack at night. Maybe instead of bringing a bag to the couch, I'm going to put whatever snack it is in a bowl first or on a little plate first and then bring that. Because I know, for example, if you bring a whole bag of nuts or a whole bag of chips to the couch, it's very easy to mindlessly go through that thing pretty quickly. But if you put some nuts or some chips or whatever it might be in a bowl and with a normal serving size, then you're much less likely to run through that, then go back for more. So that's a little example right there. Another thing that a lot of my clients will do is they brush their teeth right after dinner, therefore preventing themselves from eating or drinking something else because they don't want to have to brush their teeth again. You can come up with a rule that I'm going to close my kitchen at 8 p.m. Once after 8 p.m., I'm done. Lights are off. I'm not going back in there. Another thing you could say is I'm going to wait at least 30 minutes after dinner, and then I'm going to evaluate, okay, do I need anything else? Because I think it's really important. If you are still hungry and you're actually hungry, maybe you do need to eat something else. But oftentimes, I would say more often than not, you're not really hungry. There's more of one of these emotional triggers. So if you wait 30 minutes after you eat to actually eat something else, then you're more likely to determine whether or not you're hungry or there's an emotional trigger. And then the last thing I would say is if you're stressed, go on a walk, take a bath, do something else to relax you. Go take a shower, do something else to relax you. So if you can set some evening guardrails for yourself or rules for yourself, it might take a little while for it to stick, but I promise you that will become routine more than whatever it is that you're doing now that's blowing it at night. I hope today was helpful for you guys. Look, I know it's hard. I do. I usually always want a little bit of something after most meals. Luckily, I've gotten to the point where I don't do it after lunch anymore. Probably 1 in every 100 days do I find myself needing something else after lunch or just wanting something else after lunch. But I still want something after dinner. I still want something after dinner almost every single time. When Kenny and I go out of town, we bring apples with us, or we go to the grocery store and get apples because it's so routine and it's something that we kind of feel like we need. And so, believe me, I get it. So it's not usually necessarily a discipline issue. It's a pattern issue. It's something that you've embedded in your routine. So try to use one of these strategies. For me, I like replacing rather than removing. Identify what's leading to it. Figure out which of those 6 things that you can implement and start and try. And look, it's not going to be perfect this week. You're not going to be perfect the first couple of weeks, but you can slowly but surely improve on it over time. And it's very valuable to do so because when you're blowing it at night, that can really hinder you from achieving your health and fitness goals, from looking the way you want to look, feeling the way you want to feel, all that kind of stuff. So this is something very worthwhile to work on. If you enjoyed today's episode, I really think you would enjoy how to never sleep through your alarm again. This is one of the past episodes that we've done. If you're somebody who's pressing snooze on that alarm every single morning and you can't get your butt out of bed, this will be very valuable to you. Some practical tools, how to never sleep through your alarm again. You can watch that. I hope today was helpful. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. If you're listening on the Apple Podcasts app or on Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button. But I hope today helps you stop blowing it at night, get closer to your health and fitness goals, and ultimately, I hope today helps you get closer and closer to your best you.